Hello, my name is Anna Ryder and I'm an associate artist working with Mortal Fools. I'm also a theatre director and a creative facilitator. Today's workshop is the first of two, and we'll be focusing on taking an active approach to building resilience in our day-to-day lives. It's important to remind ourselves starting off that resilience is a practice. While some people might be predisposed to being more resilient, resilience is a practice that can be cultivated. It's likely that those who are more resilient are simply those who, knowingly or not, practice things which keep them that way. I'm going to give you a brief bit of context before we move on to some exercises. This should act as a way to frame your thinking around resilience, and the exercises will give you practical ways to use this thinking to build greater resilience in your life. Stress is an unavoidable reality of life, but how we cope with stress is what allows us to move forward. When our body's stress response is triggered, our survival instinct kicks in. You might have heard of the idea flight or fight. In this state, our body goes through all sorts of physical responses controlled by the limbic system in our brain. Our body is flooded with adrenaline and our blood pressure rises. All very helpful things if our ancient ancestors were facing a tiger and needed a quick getaway. However, we start to see problems when applied to modern day life. Our limbic system isn't very good at telling the difference between a tiger and other things that trigger our stress response, let's say a high stakes work meeting. Our modern day lives are full of things which trigger the limbic system, and that near constant triggering is something the system is not naturally designed to cope with. Over time, this can have some serious consequences on our health. I'm going to ask you to take a moment to note down some stress triggers that you might be experiencing at the moment. Let's call them our modern day tigers. These can be big things, small things, personal things, global things, anything that you notice that causes you to have a stress response. If you pause this video and take a moment to write them down, then when we come back, we'll look at how to take an active approach to looking at them. Thanks for doing that. Let's look at a model for categorising these tigers. The circle of concern is everything that we care about. The smaller circle of influence is things we care about and that we can do something about. Taking a proactive approach is the key to resilience. We need to consciously focus our attention on the circle of influence. As a final exercise, I'm going to ask you to look back at your list of modern day tigers. Pause this video again and take some time to sort these into the two circles. Once you've done that, start the video again. Organising our stresses in this way can be a really helpful way to take control back. It's important to know that things in our circle of concern may still cause us to feel stressed, but refocusing our energies onto things we have the ability to change enables us to take a more active approach in our lives. This in itself is a key building block in the practice of resilience. Thank you for joining this workshop today. In our next video, Rachel will be looking at some more building blocks towards greater resilience. Remember, in times of stress, you can always return to these frameworks. Resilience takes practice, and the more that you practice, the easier these techniques will become.